Hello and welcome everyone, Shinra here with a new Raid Shadow Legends video, hoping that you've had a nice weekend and that the event is treating you well. So, today's video will be about the infamous secret room number 9. I will tell you everything, how I beat it, which champions I used, what masteries, what strategies, and so on. I will also show the whole process with me repeating it a bunch of times. Don't worry, I'll speed through the parts that are too boring, and I'll try to help you tackle this insane challenge, should you choose to do so. Yeah, but before starting out, just the usual request for subscriptions. Yeah, I know every YouTuber does that, but unless we ask for it, it seems like we don't get much interaction back, so figured I would try it as well. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, slap the like Davey54 would say, and let's get on with the video. Okay, so again, we're talking about secret room number 9 of the Hard Doom Tower, rotation 2, the one with the Griffin. This secret room consists in the following challenge. You need to beat it with only rare attack champions. So these are the champions I opted for. But again, before also going into the details, this is not my account. This is an account for which I did a takeover, so big shout out to Molon Labe, my good friend, with whom I've worked on different areas of the game, including the secret room. So yeah, the team composition actually is not chosen at random. I wanted to reuse as many champions as possible, so we have Soulborn Boya and Berserker here. These two guys were also used in the Green Affinity Rare secret room, so that we can yeah, actually have as few champions to level as we could. War Maiden could always be useful in this kind of situation, so she's not a bad pocket champion to have. Kayle, probably your starter. Elaine, same thing, so if you have started with one of them, it's good to add another. I see Kayle here as an all-purpose guy with TM boost and a couple of AoEs, but he's not really the MVP, he's just helping balance things out. There are many champions who could fill these roles. Basically, I've seen it beat with Cold Hearts, with any good AoE. Aethel could do the job here, so basically any AoE champion would work. As long as they could hit somewhat hard or have any kind of utility on their attack. So here, the reason behind this choice is fairly simple here. War Maiden is for, first, because she has an AoE, and second, because she can place defense down weaken, which are quite important, but yeah, I'm prioritizing the AoE, a part of her kit. Elaine is particularly good for this job because, yeah, if you've must have guessed it by now, if I'm talking AoE all the time, it's because I went for a strategy where I was heavily focusing on controlling the waves, which are pretty damn tanky and hit extremely hard. So I wanted them to be constantly under stun, while not forgetting to build high DPS on all my champions. So all of them have, I think, well, these 4 are in stun sets, and Berserker is the only one out of a stun set. I put him in my hardest hitting, or in the hardest hitting savage and offensive gear I could find on this account. So I would say not hardest hitting, but probably second hardest hitting, because this account has many strong champs already built. So yeah, CC with the 3 characters and 1 character as additional nuker. The strategy is basically stun as many as I can and pray for big damage. If any of the waves, or if any of the guys of the and mobs in the waves actually manage to get out of stun or not get stun, it's a potential one-shot for the whole team. The whole team basically cannot survive for long if they sustain too many hits, because I didn't build them for survivability. I found that to be a detriment, because if your team is too tanky and not strong enough in the DPS department, the battles will last longer, and their waves are pretty quick and hit really damn strong. Plus they have debuffs on them, so that all would add an added layer of let's say, strain on the builds that I'm trying to do. So I decided to simplify things instead of that. Go basically for heavy DPS everywhere. I'll show you the stats at the end. Here I paused a little bit, I think because I was thinking what I was going to do, because I have 3 characters that are not yet stunned and they're pretty far from being dead, so I will try to stun as many as I can. This A2 from Soulborn Boyer hits extremely hard and can one-shot one of these mobs at half health, except for the defense player, Umbral Enchantress. So defense down is a huge help, as you might have noticed. Look at here, one shot. Kayle adds with the hopeful stun. So now that 2 are left, we have full health on our team. We have all our chances. We just spam A1s until we get done with it. I'll tell you more about Berserker basically once we go. And again, here I always try to prioritize my Soulborn Boyer's A1, because that's the one that has the most chance to stun multiple characters. It's an AoE basically, and it has a naturally built-in stun possibility. Here I will definitely save my attack by War Maiden, of course. Umbral has no chance of recovering from this. Now on to the next wave. In this wave you have the guy here. Let me just pause it. This guy here, he has AoE poisons, Blood Wraith or something, I can't remember the name. 2 Cold Hearts, we know exactly what they could do. They will open with their A2 and potentially wipe out the whole team, so they absolutely can't take a turn. Here, Arbalester, I think, she does okay. She has a few AoEs, but I think her attacks are random. So I feel that she could definitely one-shot one of your characters, but usually not wipe the whole team out. She's interesting because she will counterattack. She has a built-in counterattack naturally whenever one of her allies hit. Doesn't hit too hard, and her first attack will be buffing the rest. So she actually could take a turn and let you get away with it, but you don't want her to buff. So basically, again, try to land as many stuns as you can. When I say try, multiply your chances by starting with the AoE attacks. Everyone is in stun basically. This is War Maiden. We'll check the Masteries first. One thing about the Masteries which is very important is you want to pick the speed boosting Masteries whenever you can. On the offense tree, anything that adds speed for killing enemies is great. You want to have as many damage dealing Masteries. For this particular instance, I did not set the Masteries. I think those were set before, maybe for Faction Wars or something. So I left them as they were because although it was missing a very important mastery here to the right, which is Evil Eye. So I would have loved to have her with Evil Eye. I didn't bother too much, she seemed to do the work without, but with Evil Eye she becomes even more valuable to your team. So moving on, the stats as you can see here, I don't know if you can see them clearly on screen. So we have about 3000 attack for 136 or 35 speed. Crit rate is okay-ish, above the 60% threshold, 62%, and here I'm relying on the aura from Soulborn Boyer to add a little bit of crit rate. Crit damage is high. She's wearing crit damage gloves and crit damage amulet. Some resistance, which is just a byproduct of the gearing, and accuracy, enough accuracy to land her debuffs at 294, but not only her debuffs, I want also accuracy on some characters to land the Evil Eye turn meter reduction. Alright, so yeah, we've seen her masteries before, which are not very important. Let's check out the Kayle. Not the masteries, we'll check first the stats. Okay, so the stats on Kayle here, 193 speed, 3k attack, 83% crit rate, 200% crit damage, 262 accuracies. Again, some resistance is always nice to have. No focus on HP or defense unless it's a byproduct of some stats I didn't intend to have. So yeah, the team is a full team of glass cannons. Anybody could die at any moment from just one well-placed attack. Here for the masteries, these are actually masteries that I designed for Kayle. So we go down the offense tree with speed basically, and added damage on the initial hit, so that we have a good chance of dealing a lot of damage on first impact. I go down to flawless execution. I don't want to add too much RNG by going Helm Smasher, because that would be not as reliable basically, and I want my team to make the most out of every opportunity, and I want it to be predictable so that I can know what to do next. For the support tree, some accuracy, added speed here when when the debuff expires, of course. Lore Steal, always good, especially if you're going for a speed set or a perception set as secondary after the stun. And Evil Eye Mastery. Here basically, this is very important because it was thanks to Evil Eye that we were able to knock back the turn meter on many dangerous champions, allowing us to take a turn. Yeah, so, and I will go with the same exact masteries almost on Elhain. As for her stats, let's take a quick look. Yep, she's fast again, as fast as I could make her. 3.5k attack, 72% crit rate, which is rather closer to 80-90% crit rate, which is very good. 256 crit damage, and anything I could put on accuracy just a little bit helps, because she also has the Sniper Mastery, which we'll see in a moment. Okay, yeah, she's in a crit damage set and a stun set, as you can see. And here for Elhain, very similar masteries to Kayle, basically focus on the Evil Eye and on maximizing damage, while having Helm Smasher as, again, Flawless Execution, not Helm Smasher, Flawless Execution as my tier 6 mastery. Who's there? The last one would be, or the last couple of characters would be Soulbound Boya and Berserker. So let's start with Soulbound. Okay, so these are her stats. She's the fastest in the team because she has an AoE on her A1. That means that the more turns she takes, the more chances at a stun we get. So I made her as fast as I could, 241 speed. Good attack at 3.4k attack. Again, here we have a good Great Hole helping us to maximize those numbers. 56% crit rate with some added bonus from her aura, as always. 253 crit damage, 312 accuracy. This was just because I put a good perception set on her. Now let's go on. I also try to give her some resistance because I don't want her to get CC'd, if anything, or because we're relying a lot on her. So yeah, these are her masteries. She's still again in War Master Mastery. I would have liked to put her in a different mastery, basically like Flawless Execution, or add a little bit to her damage, but this works as well, no problem. She's mainly here for the CC and turn meter reduction, and sometimes to one-shot people. For the support tree, I went for accuracy masteries plus the Evil Eye mastery. So this is again a remnant from the previous build. I think we were using her factuals, then I recycled her and used her in the secret room for the rare affinity rares, for the green affinity rares. Okay, so these are the masteries and the stats. We saw them earlier. Now the last one is Mr. Berserker. He's in a Savage plus a mixed set with a total of 3.46 100k attack, 196 speed, fairly fast, as high crit rate as we could get. This is basically close to perfect with the aura, 256 crit damage, and a little bit, a tiny bit of accuracy, just so that we could make sure to land also the turn meter reduction. He hits like a freaking beast. He's comparatively speaking, if we're talking about a rare, out of all the nukers that we have in the team, he by far hits the hardest. Again, this is his tree, his mastery trees. I went with all the masteries that maximize damage and that augment his speed as he kills more enemies, basically just like I built Kayle. And yeah, so again we went with Evil Eye. His skills are actually quite interesting. His A1, he fills his own turn meter by 30% if the attack is critical, so the more he crits, the faster he'll go, and he hits decently hard on this attack, not really his best. For his A2, he attacks one enemy and grants an extra turn if the target is killed. Also hits pretty hard. It could kill an enemy with defense down on Secret Room 9. With the stats that I have, I kill them at about 40-45% HP, unless they're defense based, which can be a little bit harder. But yeah, hits pretty hard, gives you the chance to go again, so you want to save the enemies who are close to dying, to use this attack to get more damage on the whole team. Then his A3, which is his best attack by far. It's an AoE, it hits twice, and it ignores 20% of the target's defense, which pairs beautifully with the Savage Gear, and hits hard too. So this could be a good candidate for Hem Smasher instead of Flawless Execution, and but I don't remember, I might have built him in Flawless, but he could be a really good candidate for Hem Smasher and help snatch you the win the last time. So again, these are the skills on Elhain. Everybody knows her. On her A1, she just attacks twice. On her A2, attacks one enemy, then attacks all enemies, and if anybody dies, she places crit rate buff on herself. Hits really hard. Her A3 is just an attack twice. So yeah, all these enemies, all these champions are pretty good candidates for stun sets. Here for Soulborn Boyer, her A2 ignores 75% of the target's defense and has a built-in 25% crit rate, so I could have built her with a lot more crit damage because that's one of her native abilities. She basically just boosts her crit rate without any buffs or anything, and then hits really hard. This again could take down an enemy at half health on that secret room, so think about it. If you're seeing an enemy close to taking a turn or you want to get rid of a threat, this is the perfect attack for that. The A3 is very similar to Cold Heart's Heartseeker. It does not do damage proportional to HP. It does a decent amount of damage, especially if it's fully booked, and it should be. Again, needless to say, all these champions need to be fully booked, no matter which ones you want to use. And also has a 75% chance, which books up to 100, to fully deplete the target's turn meter, resetting them and knocking them back. Her aura is a crit rate aura, which is also very useful for the team. War Maiden, we know her, don't need to go through everything, so she basically has an A3 that places defense down on everyone, and an A2 that hits twice if the first hit is critical. You're not relying on her for any other debuff besides her defense down, although poisons could help sometimes, but yeah. Kayle here again emphasizing the Evil Eye Mastery on everyone. Extremely important. If you don't have Evil Eye Mastery, then you might as well I don't know, build your team with 20, 30, 40% more speed than I have, to try and go more times. Build them maybe in Relentless with high damage, I don't know. That would be a little bit hard without the CC. So yeah, that was a little bit of a rundown of this team. So let's run the footage again. Alright, so let's run back the footage of the last few tries now that we've seen the builds. This is the team in action. So this run, I remember I had restarted it because yeah, of course, why would I continue? This either could be the winning run or the run right after. So yeah, good amount of stuns here. 1, 2, 3 stuns in the opening salvo. 4th stun. I couldn't have basically dreamt of a better initial setup. Now I have the freedom to try and use other attacks, and again a 5th stun, so the whole team was effectively CC'd after this first salvo of AoE attacks. Now all I need to do is try to take care of them one by one. The ones as they're gaining more turn meter, I will focus my attacks more on them. Yeah, basically not letting anyone take a turn. Right, so now you get the principle. I'll let you watch the run till the end, and I thank you very much for clicking on the video. If you like this kind of content and want to help me reach my 1000 target subscribers, please hit subscribe and like. So I ended up restarting that other run. Yeah, this would be actually the winning one. Again, pretty good RNG on the opener with 3 stuns out of 5. That's what you're looking for. I actually started at one point quitting the game if I didn't get at least 3 stuns on the first AoE. That way you give yourself a very good boost at the start, and then you can build up on it. Nobody takes a turn, depleting any turn meter that I deem dangerous. Here, hitting this guy, hopefully setting a stun. Now I have the choice between an AoE and an A1. I go for the A1, hoping for the stun once more, and now his HP is down, is low enough for me to be able to kill him in one hit and take an extra turn with Mr. Berserker here. Again, here an opportunity to hit someone. I try to shoot her, and as you see, the damage on her is not as big as it would have been on any of the other champions because she's thick and tanky. Here, this normally I would have restarted. I don't know if I did, but this is a dangerous situation where potentially the team could wipe at any moment. Luckily, I got a stun on the ad here to the left, and I will start trying to pick them off by one by one. Didn't succeed here because she's again too tanky. And yeah, so here it's a gamble. I need to reduce his turn meter, I need to place stuns, so I'll go with the A1, of course. I have no choice. I'll kill this Blood Wraith because he's dangerous, then we'll focus on his colleague. We shouldn't also forget about the guy to the left. He has poisons, basically he's gonna die. No worries about that. Now, I'm starting this fight with a little bit of a disadvantage. Let's see if we can turn the tables around. Good. A stun is always good. 2 stuns is even better. Now, let's see who's the immediate threat. The Blood Wraith, because he has a nasty AoE. Cold Heart, of course, we know if she takes a turn, we're dead. So, there's no way around that. I don't want to use the AoE yet, because we have already quite a few stuns on, and I want to knock her turn meter back, which I will have a chance to do here with Soulbound Boya. Now, saving up our attacks is also critical. We don't want to waste any vital debuffs. Try to AoE as many as we can. Here we'll try to go for the chain attack, and we succeed. Then we'll try to chop this guy a little bit down off. Now, perfect time to use the AoE. Killing a character will allow us to replenish Kayle's turn meter while having a chance to dish out more CC debuffs. Again, pretty cool round. Picture perfect. No one in the opposing team took a turn. We're able to keep them CC'd throughout the whole fight. And now, onto the finale. Let's see how it goes. So here, of course, I would open with my AoE defense down. I was just trying to think which ones would be the immediate threats and the ones that I would need to CC. Luckily, the 2 Hospitaliers, if that's their name on the back, they're archers, AoE archers, can be dangerous. They were CC'd, and now Sorceress is the only one remaining without a CC, but that shouldn't be a problem as soon as we get a turn with Soulbound Boya. Make sure to do that by knocking back her turn meter as much as we can. And here Soulbound Boya will delete the turn meter completely and give us a chance to finish the fight. Now this is a very good look, so even if not many not many stuns land. We can see that the termitors are still fairly knocked back, and they lost a significant amount of health, so we will have a chance to at least thin the herd and reduce the threat. So here Aethel could one-shot us. Any of the archers could basically put us in trouble. We'd lose 1 or 2 champions. Same thing if War Maiden takes a chance to place her defense down. So yeah, lots of threats coming from all sorts of areas. But now it's good that we got rid of one of the major threats, which is Aethel, and the rest is just making sure that nobody else takes a turn at all, and we'll be good. And here we go. 63 turns, 4 minutes, 52 plus about 2 to 3 hours of experimenting builds, of trying out strategies. This is not an easy room to tackle. Why it took me so long is because I was trying to do it without masteries on champion, trying to do it with as few resources spent as possible. That was just not feasible. I hope that somebody figures out a cheese strategy for this, something that could help us solo it or duo it while going AFK. I'm pretty sure we could come up with something similar to that, but until then, this room is quite costly if you want to do it, let's say, the straightforward way like I did. So go berserk, pun of course intended, on DPS gear, on stun sets, and pray for on Jesus to be on your side. Alright, so this was the secret room number 9. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you like this kind of content so that I could make some more, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah, what do you think about my YouTube routine? Great. Thank you. Alright, so with that said, Rufus Shinra will be signing out, and cheers.